headlines of this hour on VTV News. Central Bank takes credit growth as 2024 key task. And heightened alert and efforts to contain a forest fire in Sapa. And in our world news, U.S. proposes temporary Gaza ceasefire in draft UN resolution.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning. It is 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi, and you're watching VTV News. I'm Hoan Trần with the top stories. State President Võ Văn Thưởng extended best New Year wishes to elderly people, planted trees, and visited Co Loa ancient citadel during his trip to Đông Anh district in Hanoi on February 20th. More in the following.
State President Võ Văn Thưởng offers incense at a shrine dedicated to King An Tương Vương in Co Loa, the special national relic site, on the occasion of the Lunar New Year. King An Tương Vương, succeeding the era of the national founders, Hùng Kings, is credited with establishing Âu Lạc, an ancient state in Vietnam. His strategic vision and unwavering determination in national construction and defense led him to relocate the nation's center from the northern mountainous region to the vast and fertile plains, where he established the ancient capital known today as Co Loa. The President also visited people from all walks of life in Đông Anh district, Hanoi. During the visit, he specially visited and encouraged the elderly and people in residential groups 2, 3, and 4 of Đông Anh town. It spread joy and observed the atmosphere of a village striving for innovation in Đông Anh. The state president hoped that along with development, the village love would be preserved and each family would continue to encourage and support each other in building Đông Anh into a driving force for development in the north of Hanoi.
On the occasion of the 69th anniversary of Vietnamese Doctors' Day on February 27th, National Assembly Chairman Vương Đình Huệ visited the Ministry of Health. He praised the health sector for overcoming all difficulties and successfully controlling the COVID-19 pandemic. The National Assembly Chairman respectfully expressed sincere feelings and gratitude to all officials, doctors, and nurses for their efforts and contributions over the past time. He emphasized that the industry has achieved many important and comprehensive achievements, making a significant contribution to the cause of building and protecting the fatherland. He also lauded the health sector's work in building and improving institutions, policies, and legal systems, and organizing the effective enforcement of laws related to the health sector. The governor of the State Bank of Vietnam on Tuesday said that propelling credit growth is the key task in 2024 to ensure ample capital for the economy. According to the governor, the central bank has steadfastly followed the government and Prime Minister directives on prioritizing support for growth coupled with macroeconomic stability and inflation control since the beginning of this year. By the end of January, credit decreased by 0.6% compared to the end of last year. So promoting credit growth from the beginning of the year is essential to achieve the set target for this year.
Many commercial banks still lend at high interest rates even though mobilization costs have dropped sharply. The central bank also highlighted the imperative of reducing operational costs among the credit institutions and urged for a reduction in interest rates for loans to citizens and businesses. This directive was accompanied by a call for a balanced management of deposit and loan sources to effectively mitigate credit and liquidity risks.
There is a 6.5% support package, which is the interest rate for farmers and businesses in forestry and fisheries sectors. With current customer demands, we have tripled the package.
To quickly grant credit for key national projects and other major projects, many banks have issued syndicated loans.
It is necessary to share risk. No bank would focus lending on only one customer. So we decided that a co-financing and institutional and international capital sources would be a suitable solution.
Along with promoting unsecured lending and online lending, restructuring debt repayment periods for businesses is considered a good method to open up credit flow.
We will extend Circular 02 to an appropriate time and monitor the market to ensure support for businesses to overcome difficulties as well as ensure credit quality for commercial banks.
The central bank will direct credit institutions to promote safe and efficient credit growth. This includes channeling credit into priority sectors and growth engines, while keeping rigorous control over credit in potentially risky areas.
Gold prices have moved into a volatile phase, rocking today's markets. The State Bank of Vietnam has proposed Decree 24 on management of gold business activities. In addition, the central bank has also proposed more policies to the government to effectively manage the gold market. More in the following.
At the end of the God of Wealth Day, most gold businesses recorded an average sales volume. The gap between buying and selling prices of the metal remained high at $100 to $130 per tael.
This year, people buy gold just for luck as gold prices are too high. Besides, people wanted to wait for a shift in the gold market.
The price of an SJC gold bar is over $650 per tael, which is higher than the international gold price. Whether or not the abolition of the SJC gold bar monopoly can narrow this gap is a matter of great concern, as summarized in Decree 24, which has been in place for decades.
If we import gold and let domestic brands process it, the gap between domestic gold prices in the world would narrow.
Since the end of last year, the Prime Minister has directed the state management agencies to evaluate and review the gold market. The Prime Minister again requested the central bank urgently summarizes Decree 24 on the management of gold business activities.
The State Bank of Vietnam is urgently coordinating with relevant ministries and branches to summarize Decree 24 and will complete a proposal to submit to the government for amendments to effectively manage the gold market in the new situation.
After 12 years, Decree 24 is said to have fulfilled its mission of anti-goldinization dominance, contributing to long-term macroeconomic stability. Socioeconomic conditions are changing, so having a new set of tools to ensure both management and marketability is much needed.
Phone and components recorded the largest export value at $282.8 million during the first days of Lunar New Year, known locally as TED, according to statistics compiled by the General Department of Vietnam Customs. Specifically, from February 8th to February 14th, Vietnam saw more than 1,000 Vietnamese enterprises get involved in the import and export of goods. In line with this, total trade turnover reached $1.41 billion, of which export and import value hit $0.73 billion and $0.68 billion respectively. Phone and components took the lead with turnover reaching $282.8 million, followed by computers, electronics and components with $263.6 million and machinery and equipment products at $54.4 million. On Friday, Ha Giang Province organized the official export of 36 tons of pickled radishes from Ximen District to a Japanese market, marking a good start to the new year. Since 2022, Ximen District has exported over 2,000 tons of pickled radishes to Japan. This successful export to the discerning Japanese market affirms the position of Ha Giang Province agricultural products. Vietnam aims to send 125,000 laborers abroad to work under contracts in 2024, focusing on key traditional markets such as Japan, Taiwan, China, and the Republic of Korea, according to the Ministry of Labor, Invalids, and Social Affairs. To realize the targets, the Ministry of Labor, Invalids, and Social Affairs will continue to improve the quality of workers sent abroad and prioritizing sending laborers from disadvantaged areas and policy beneficiaries overseas. The ministry plans to expand labor markets to countries offering high income and recruiting jobs that are relevant to Vietnamese workers' skills. In 2023, Vietnam sent more than 159,000 workers abroad under contracts, reaching 133.3% of the yearly plan. This is the highest number of Vietnamese laborers working abroad in more than 10 years. Coming up next on VTV News. Heightened alert and efforts to contain a forest fire in Sapa. And technology transports historic relics into the future. Welcome back to VTV News. Now, a forest fire is burning near Hoan National Park in Sapa, Lào Cai province on Tuesday, rampaging a combined area of 25 hectares. Local authorities have mobilized more than 900 staff members and firefighting units despite the vicinity's complex terrain and unfavorable strong winds. As of late Tuesday, the fire was contained. More in the following.
Lào Cai province established a command team, a forward command station, and a mobile command team to oversee firefighting efforts. More than 700 firefighters and officials directly participated in snuffing out the flames.
When putting our fires at high mountainous terrain like this, collective effort is the #1 factor at play. We plan to exert our forces, including firefighters, local police, forest rangers and self-defense forces to extinguish the fire in each narrow spot. This is important when containing smoldering fires, which will continue to flare up.
A few fire sources in Hoan National Park were brought under control. However, the thick vegetation layer and strong winds created many obstacles for firefighters. According to preliminary statistics, more than 25 hectares of forest, grass, reeds, and vegetation have been burned.
Since firefighting is a painstaking process, we must mobilize all available functional forces to deliver food and water to the team, ensuring basic rations.
The authorities of Sapa town have also proactively deployed forces. More backup units will be on standby, ensuring effective communication in the process until the fire is completely put out.
The Xuân Hồng or Red Spring Festival, the biggest annual blood donation campaign in Vietnam, kicked off on Sunday in Hanoi. The event was organized by the National Institute of Hematology and Blood Transfusion, or NIHBT, and the Hanoi Steering Committee for Voluntarily Blood Donation Mobilization. With the theme Donating Blood, Multiplying Happiness, the meaningful campaign has drawn a great number of participants from across the city.
This year's festival has attracted more than 1,000 blood donors each day since its opening. Most donors choose to donate their blood out of goodwill and in hope of a meaningful start to the new year.
We often hope to get off on a good start at the beginning of the year. Therefore, I've chosen to do a meaningful thing to start my new year on a good note.
Blood donation is a beautiful thing to do. We'll feel fulfilled one way or another.
Young people were not the sole group of blood donors. The event also attracted older generations.
I asked my daughter if she had someone to accompany her to the event, and decided to be that someone.
The week-long event will take place at 3 venues across Hanoi and soon be held throughout Vietnam.
We are wholeheartedly grateful for the donations. We acknowledge the efforts in getting all the way here, regardless of distances and weather conditions. It is a life-saving good deed that we deeply appreciate.
Compassion and care was felt throughout the whole event as donors volunteered to help the patients in dire need of blood transfusion.
The province of Lâm Đồng may become the leading orchid-producing region in Southeast Asia. This opinion comes from the experts in the field based on the province's unique advantages. These are extremely ideal climatic conditions for orchids. Gardeners who specialize in growing orchids have called Dalat city of Lâm province the land with golden climate. The number of sunny hours a year gives orchids grown here enough light. Not to mention the temperature in Dalat is extremely ideal for orchids. As a comparison, in many countries where orchids are grown, in order for orchids to bloom, they must use air conditioning or have to take orchids to high mountains. Climate advantages have helped orchids grown in Dalat excel in quality and significantly lower prices compared to orchids grown in other countries. The ancient city of Hoan in central Vietnam has been named among the world's top 25 honeymoon destinations of 2024 on TripAdvisor 2023 Traveler's Choice Best of the Best Awards. The rankings are based on reviews from tourists over the past 12 months. Hoan was an important trading port in Southeast Asia from the 15th to the 19th centuries. It has become a popular destination for domestic and foreign travelers. On the 14th day of every lunar month, Hoan hosts the full moon night in the old town and other festivals with colorful lanterns of various shapes and sizes. Many localities successfully developed Agri Tourism models in early 2024. This form of tourism drew the attention of thousands of visitors and generated a significant income for farmers. It also served as the foundation for linking tourism with the development of new-style rural areas in numerous provinces. Our story in Quảng Trị province.
This tourist complex in Hướng Hóa district, Quảng Trị province, welcomed over 2,000 visitors daily during the Lunar New Year 2024 holiday.
I find this tourism model wonderful. We can enjoy fresh air and mingle with nature.
We will build more homestays where visitors can camp overnight in the near future. We will also invest in clean vegetable gardens for visitors to experience harvesting farm produce themselves.
There are over 10 agritourism models in Hướng Hóa district. When visiting these facilities, tourists can engage in various interesting activities, including learning about orchards, sightseeing, fruit harvesting, and tree planting.
The locality will accelerate the progress of regional planning and ramp up promotional activities. The local authorities will collaborate with travel agencies to introduce more tours in Hướng Hóa district.
During the Tet holiday, over 150,000 visitors experienced agritourism models in Quảng Trị province. This impressive record contributes to securing farm produce output and promoting the development of agricultural trade.
Modern technology has brought new life to degraded relics. With digital and 3D interactive technologies, people can now admire the original beauty of the Lê dynasty's communal house in Hanoi. Or an incense holder which was dated back during the Lê dynasty was also brought back to life thanks to advanced technologies. This has proven an effective way to bring medieval treasures closer to the public. More in the following.
King Theon Palace is the most important building in Tung Long Royal Citadel. Recently, its original beauty was brought back to life by advanced 3D reconstruction technology. Many ruined relics have also been recovered by using this technology.
There are not many medieval architectures remaining intact in the heritage site. We have applied modern 3D reconstruction technology to rebuild the images of that type of architecture.
Heritage restoration processes are divided into two main phases. During Phase 1, technicians digitize the architecture for storage and preservation using advanced technologies. During Phase 2 of the process, they will create the images of relics using 3D mapping or virtual reality technologies.
Artificial intelligence can be of great help. We can feed AI applications with information or historical facts about relics. AI applications can come up with solutions to recreate or preserve the relics.
Researchers have worked with architects to use modern technology to recreate the images of medieval relics.
The application of digital technology at tourist attractions is also an important part of building a database for historic relics, thereby publicizing images and tourism to visitors. Education about heritage will be more effective if we know how to use digital technologies. They help create virtual reality products, allowing visitors to explore exactly what they want to know. If advanced technologies continue to be used for the new to embrace the old, cultural heritage will be in safe hands going forward and continue to inspire the next generation.
Coming up next in our world news. U.S. proposes temporary Gaza ceasefire in draft UN resolution. And Amazon forest may collapse within 25 years of inaction. Now moving on to our world news. The U.S. has proposed a draft United Nations Security Council resolution calling for a temporary ceasefire in the Gaza Strip as soon as practicable. The U.S. draft resolution affirmed its opposition to a major ground offensive into Rafah, stating concern for further harm to civilians and serious implications for regional peace and security. The move comes after Algeria drafted a resolution demanding an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. However, the U.S. ambassador to the UN said that the Algerian draft is not an effective mechanism for extended cause to the conflict. The UN Security Council is scheduled to vote on the U.S. draft on Tuesday, local time. The People's Bank of China, or PBOC, has announced a record cut to a key mortgage rate in a bid to support the country's property sector against economic headwinds. Accordingly, PBOC has lowered the country's 5-year loan prime rate from 4.2% to 3.95%. This is the first rate cut since June 2023 and the largest since 2019. The 5-year loan prime rate was the reference rate for medium and short-term mortgages. Therefore, the slash is expected to encourage commercial banks to grant more credit and at more advantageous rates. China's attempt at cutting loan rates was part of the government's response to ramp up support for the ailing real estate, export, and investment. Australia said on Tuesday it would boost its defense spending by an additional $7.25 billion over the next decade to double its fleet of warships and grow its domestic shipbuilding industry. The government's plan would increase the Navy's surface combatant fleet to 26 from 11, the largest since the end of the Second World War. The combat-ready surface fleet will include 6 Hunter-class frigates with undersea warfare and strike capabilities, while the rest will be equipped with upgraded long-range Tomahawk missiles. With this plan set in motion, Australia's defense spending will reach 2.4% of its gross domestic product, above the 2% target set by its NATO allies. Drought and heat driven by climate change and other factors threaten to cause the collapse of South America's lush Amazon rainforest system. Scientists are looking to identify the most important stressors on the rainforest environment so that they can develop a pathway for keeping the Amazon forest resilient.
In the study, researchers estimated that 10% to 47% of Amazon's current forest cover would be exposed to compounding disturbances that might trigger an irreversible ecosystem shift. This would adversely affect regional climate change, given Amazon's role in absorbing large amounts of climate-warming carbon dioxide from the atmosphere.
Maybe we cannot do anything anymore. And then it's useless to stop deforestation, to try to stop. We may not even be able to, because the forest will die by itself. So, I mean, it's time to red alert.
In the last year, we observed a big El Nino drought, a big drought that pushed the system already to potentially one of the most extreme positions it has been. So we are seeing these events becoming more often and becoming more critical.
Scientists are universally concerned that the world's most biodiverse forest may transform into a drier savanna-like landscape or other forms of degraded ecosystems more likely to burn in wildfires. This transformation marks a major change for the Amazon, where most fires now are fanned by ranchers or farmers clearing land.
Now before we say goodbye, let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.